So what we're doing, okay, we're factoring and we're getting progressively more complex with our factoring. So initially the type, yes, Jacob. Okay, you're gonna have to talk to me privately because now I'm teaching. Okay. So we started with polynomials that we just had to factor out some greatest common factors. And then we added polynomials that we had to factor, and you'll see it labeled as a is equal to 1. Okay. What we're doing is we're factoring quadratics. Who remembers what a quadratic is?
Like those graphs?
Yeah, tell me what the graph is.
Like the X and Y?
Okay. What's the difference between quadratic and linear?
Linear, like a straight line.
Linear is a straight line, okay? So the equation for a linear or for a line looks like this: y equals mx plus b, right? And we know we have a slope and a y-intercept. Also notice that with a linear function, the x is just to the first power, okay? A quadratic function, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, up till now, we've actually not even been paying attention to the y. Actually, we're going to continue doing that today because right now, remember I told you before when we first started factoring, we're just learning how to factor so that later we can solve an equation like that. In order to do that, I'm going to have to be able to factor it. So right now we're learning the skills of factoring the equations, okay? We recognize this as quadratic because the x is squared. Yes.
Is that the same as exponential?
No. Very good question. It's not. Okay. So notice in our linear equation, the x is just to the first power. If we have an x to the second power, it's quadratic. Okay. Now, a linear equation, when we graph it, is a straight line. When we graph a quadratic equation, it's a parabola. Looks like this. Okay. Looks like a bowl. We are working our way up to that. For now, we are simply learning to factor this part so that I can graph it and so that I can solve it. Okay? Yes?
So later on in the lesson, we'll have to graph them?
Later on in this unit, we will be graphing them, yes. Okay? So we started with simple ones that just had a greatest common factor, like you just had for homework or for the quiz, right? And then we moved into problems where the a is equal to 1. We're going to continue with those type today, but they will get more complicated. Like the a will not be 1, which means the factoring is going to get more complicated, okay? So for now, let's look at a couple more examples before I let you loose to do some practice. Let's look at 2x to the third plus 8x squared minus 120x. That doesn't look anything like that, does it? No. So that's my clue that maybe I have a greatest common factor that I can take out first. Okay, we can take a 2. That's good. What else can we take? 2 and an x. Okay. So now, what's left when I take 2 and x out of it? So let's look at the 2 first. If I take 2 away from 2, I'm left with just 1, right? And then x squared, because I took 1x away from there. Okay? Plus, if I take 2 out of the 8, what's left? 4. Remember, we're dividing, right? It's not 6. We're dividing. Now, if I take x out of the x squared, I'm left with x. If I take 2 out of negative 120, I have negative 60. If I take x out of x, there's no x's left. Okay? We always start by looking for a greatest common factor. So we did that, but we're not finished. Because now this looks like that ax squared plus bx plus c. It's quadratic. I can factor it now, okay? So we've got 2x. Now I'm going to factor this part right here. And actually, I'm going to do it in a different color so you can follow. I'm going to factor this part right here. So we're going to form 2 sets of parentheses.
We're using the same 2x.
Yes, you keep the 2x. It doesn't disappear. It just kind of keeps coming down with it. Okay? Okay, so how do I factor this now? X squared plus 4x minus 60.
But you have to put an X in each parenthesis.
X in each parenthesis. Good. X in each parenthesis. Okay, who remembers what we do now? Pat,
Gotta find one that adds up to the 4.
Add-
Adds up to the
you're right, adds to 4, but
multiplies to -6.
good. Adds to 4, but multiplies to negative 60. Now, a lot of times we can see it right away. But sometimes, like with this one, we may not. So just start listing your factors of 60. And this is how I do it, right? I start with 1 and 60. No, it's negative. So that means one of them has to be negative. So it could be negative 1 and 60 or 1 and negative 60. Okay? And then you go to 2.
-2.
2 and 30, right? And then we go to 3. 3 and 20. Does 4 go into 60? Yeah, 4 and 15. Okay. How about 5? Does that go into 60? Okay, 5 and 12.
Yeah.
How about 6?
Yeah.
Okay, 6 and 10. I'm just going to keep going through the numbers to check them. 7, 8, 9, 10, but I already have the 10 listed. So here's my factors. Which combination will add up to positive 4?
-6
-6 and
and positive.
positive 10. Here it is right here. Okay, -6, positive 10. Okay, you'll get faster at this with practice, and some of you are going to be really quick at it to start with, right? So like, yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, let me go through it again. Okay, okay.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll put my name on -6. I'm just trying to score on the quiz. -6.
You didn't put your name on your quiz?
I'm just asking.
I'll look afterwards. I don't want to take any more time. Okay, so when we're doing this, right, we're looking for the right combination. Since this is a negative 60, one of the numbers has to be negative, right? So right away, like I knew before I even started, I knew that these numbers here were not going to work. Oops. Okay. They're too big. There's no way I'm going to get a positive 4 from those. But that just comes with practice, okay? So the best way to do this, to be certain, is just to start listing your factors, okay? So the first factor I listed was 1 and 60. But because it's negative, I listed it twice. -1 and positive 60, or +1 and negative 60, right? -1 times positive 60 equals negative 60. +1 times negative 60 equals negative 60. Okay, it needs to add up to 4. Well, these don't add up to 4. So keep going, right? Just kind of keep going. Okay, let's do 2. 2 and 30. That's a factor of 60. So again, one of them has to be negative. Neither one of these add up to positive 4, so we ignore those. Keep going. Let's try 3. 3 goes into 60 20 times. So negative 3 and positive 20, or positive 3 and negative 20. Neither one of those adds up to positive 4. Keep going. 4. 4 goes into 60 15 times. So it's negative 4 and positive 15. Now I'm getting closer, right? This adds up to 9. This one adds up to negative 9, so they don't work. So we'll check 5. 5 goes into 60 12 times. So negative 5 times 12, that's going to add up to 7. We're getting closer. This is going to add up to negative 7. That does not work. So next one is 6. 6 goes into 60 10 times. When I do negative 6 and positive 10, that one works right there. Those are the two factors I need to use. Okay? So that will get faster. Some of you are going to struggle with it initially. Use your calculator. Okay? Some of you have a better, what I call number sense. Okay? You know your number facts a little better. So for some of you, it's going to go quicker. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do 4p to the third plus 4p squared minus 360p. All right, so what do we do first? Yes. Yeah, you want to turn it up to 74? Can you turn the air up to 74?
Find a factor.
What do we try to factor out?
4.
4 and p. Good. 4p. Okay. Four p. What's left when I take 4p out of 4p squared?
Oh, it's
P squared. Okay. How about when I take 4p out of 4p squared?
P.
P. And then 4p out of 360 is 90, and there's no p left. Bless you.
Let me factor that down.
Okay. So we took our greatest common factor out. Now we have to factor what's inside the parenthesis. So we're going to make two sets of parentheses. Notice I bring the 4p down, right? We're not ignoring that 4p. So we're doing what's inside here. Okay. Okay, we're going to put a p in each parenthesis. What are we looking for?
Something that adds up to 1 and multiplies to 90.
Okay, something that adds up to 1 but multiplies to negative 90. Negative 90. Okay. Okay, let's put your iPads away, please. Okay. Adds up to 1 but multiplies to negative 90. Okay, so let's start listing our factors. 1 and 90. Right? We need a negative and we need a positive. That's not going to add up to 1, right? Okay, let's move on. Does 2 go into 90? 2 and 45. Is that going to add up to 1? Does 3 go into 90? 3 times 30. Is that going to add up to 1? Okay, does 4 go into 90? I don't think so. Okay. How about 5? 5 goes into 90 18 times. Will that add up to positive 1? Does 6 go into 90? I think it does 15 times. Yes, 15 times. Does that add up to positive 1?
No.
Okay. How about 7? 8? 9?
Yes.
Yes, 9 times 10.
That's it.
Will that add up to positive 1?
Yes.
Yes, it will. So we have p minus 9, p plus 10. Right? Now, it takes practice. I saw that immediately. Okay, it just takes practice. You'll get so that you'll see it faster the more we do. Okay, and if not, that's okay. You just plug through it like this. So my answer, my fully factored answer, I have to include the 4p, and then it's p minus 9, p plus 10. Now it does not matter. These are the same thing if you write it as p plus 10, p minus 9. Doesn't matter what order we write our parentheses in. Okay? Yes.
So, instead of X, he has to take his place.
No, it could be any letter. It could be any letter. Okay. Okay, try this one by yourself. Is this the first we've done these type together? We started it. Okay. We're a little bit out of sync with the other classes. Okay, see if you can factor this one by yourself. Okay, if you didn't finish. All right, so what's the first thing we're going to do? Factor, greatest common factor. What is that? 1K. There you go. We don't have to put the 1, but you can. All right. So when I take a K out, we get K squared. And Ethan, what do I get with the 4K squared? What's left? 4K. Good. And Kayla, what's left with the minus 60K? We took the K out, so it's just minus 60. All right. Okay. D'Angelo, what do I do now?
So you just drop down the K.
Drop down the K. Good. And then how about, what do we do with this parenthesis here? Break it into 2 parentheses. Put a K in each one. Okay. So we've got a good start. Okay. All right. Now I'm looking for 2 numbers that multiply to equal negative 60, but add up to positive 4. Okay. Angel, what'd you get?
Negative 6 and 10.
Negative 6 and 10. I'm pretty sure we did one, we factored the 60 up above, right? Yeah, right here. This was the same thing. The only difference is on this one, I took out a 2x. Down here, I took out just a 1K. Yes. Did you make a pass? Yes.
Can we leave the 1 with the K?
Yes, absolutely, you can. Okay, let's look at another one. Okay, here's a good one. Wait, let me get one that's not. Okay, let me make one up here. We're gonna do okay, 5x squared plus. Make sure I get my numbers right here. I think 70x plus 240. I mean, I need to think this one through right here. I'm not sure that I did that correctly. Okay. Okay, we'll try it. Hopefully it works. Okay, what am I going to do first?
Find the greatest common factor.
Which is 5. No x, just the 5. Right? And that leaves me with x squared plus, let's see, if I took 10, it would be 7, so it would be 14x plus 48. So the way I was able to do that in my head, by the way, okay, We want to keep our brains thinking, right? If I had taken a 10 out, it would have been easy, right?
Yeah.
If I take 10 out of 70, it would have been 7.
Yep.
I took half as much out, which means I should have double as much inside left. Okay, so if I took 10 out of 240, I know that would have been 24, but I only took 5 out. So I took half of it as much out, so I have twice as much left. So that's how I knew there was 48. That's how I did it in my head. Okay. Okay. See if you can factor what's left.